What's up, guys? In this episode, I'm going to be talking about my daily routine and how I make it as productive as possible. Now, I like to think that this is something that I've actually gotten a lot better at than the average person. Like, quite a lot better. I may not be the best, I'm only 20 years old, but I'm getting there. So, it depends on the day and it depends on the week. But I'll run you through my actual schedule and then I'll run you through the principles. So, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are my deep work days. And it's been a bit messed up recently because my stupid work changed their days. But now I have my dinner with strangers on Wednesday, so it's not a full deep work day because I do have to go to that. I have to start getting ready for that at like 6:30 p.m. But that still means that I've got like a 12-hour day to do work, so that's pretty good. Although I have to go to the gym and eat in that time, so it's not actually 12 hours. Anyway, Monday and Friday though are full deep work days. So on deep work days, I go to the gym. I've been going 3 days a week. I'm basically sticking to the standards for longevity. You should do resistance training twice a week for longevity. I'm splitting that up into 3 times because I want to do a little bit of hypertrophy, and also because I'd rather do 3 small days rather than 2 big days. Yeah, so on my deep work days, I basically just go to the gym, I eat and I work and I shower. That's it. But how do I actually structure the day? So I have found, and this is pretty common, that I am far less productive in the middle of the day. Okay, maybe not far less, but I'm a lot less productive, noticeably less productive than the morning and right before I go to bed. And generally for humans, it is we have high dopamine in the morning, so we're good to do kind of just hard, deep work. We have high serotonin in the afternoon, and we generally feel a bit more tired after lunch. That's why, toddlers at kindy, they have naps after lunch. It's just natural circadian rhythm. And then before bed, the higher serotonin means that we're better for socializing, we're better for pleasure, and we feel better about ourselves, but we're also more kind of creative. So if you were to do kind of, for me, for YouTube, doing kind of more creative brainstorming, that would work well in the afternoon. It also works well in the morning though. I take advantage of that. I'm not going to try and plan a video, plan the title and the thumbnail and the hook and the body. I'm not going to attempt to do that in the afternoon, particularly after around 1 p.m. I found. So sometimes straight after lunch I can get back into it and it's okay, but then around like 1:30 to 4:30, that's when it gets real bad. So I will avoid doing hard work in that time, unless I'm really in the zone and I just want to finish it, because there is a case for momentum as well. So momentum should be preserved. That's another principle. The longer you work on something, and you can take breaks, but the longer you work on something without like a full break, the more momentum you get to an extent. You obviously can't do that for like 8 hours, or maybe some people can, but a few hours in a row. I would say like 4 hours of actual work. It does depend on what you're doing. Maybe for study, for learning, you'll be getting a little bit tired by then. But for me, for making YouTube videos, I can basically work for I'll be very conservative and say 4 hours. I can work for 4 hours with no break on hard tasks. Now, towards the end of that, my productivity is dipping slightly, but it's still better than it would be if I took a break. So for me, it's not worth taking breaks. Now, I have been studying very hard for years, so I built up to that. You can build up your tolerance where you don't need a break. If you check your phone in the middle of, let's say, a 4-hour work break, like even if it's in let's say you have a 4-hour work break and you have 2 10-minute breaks or 4 10-minute breaks in that time, that's like acceptable if you're studying or something. If you go on your phone in that time, boom, your concentration's gone, your momentum's gone, because now you're thinking about all this social stuff. If you anything that takes up a lot of mental energy, anything that you will think about after you've done it, is not regenerative. So if I go out onto my back deck and I just let my mind wander, I'm not going to think about that activity after I've done it. If I go on my phone and I text someone, I'm going to be thinking about that after I've done it. And that means that it is not worth doing because it will ruin my productivity. So I leave that stuff, I push it back to my big breaks. So small breaks you can do during your deep work hours. I'd recommend reading the book Deep Work, by the way. And then your big breaks, you can do other stuff like you can go to the gym, you can check your phone. So what I'll do, and I have been experimenting with moving the gym around, I haven't really figured this out yet, but I have lunch, I go to the gym, then I get home from the gym, I shower, and I eat afternoon tea, and then I get back to work. So that's like 3 hours where I'm not working in the middle of the day. Not optimal. I'm actually trying to reduce that because it's really annoying. It annoys me, but whatever, it's fine. And I check my phone like during that time, like I check messages at lunch basically. In the morning, I just say like, good morning to my girlfriend, that's it. I don't check the rest of my phone. I don't check my messages. I only check at lunch. That's because I don't want to be distracted before my deep work block. So I don't want to hear anything that might leave me thinking about it. So saying good morning to my girlfriend, I'm not going to be left thinking about that, so it's fine. And it's also just like nice. I like doing it. So I separate any distractions out of my deep work blocks. All I'm doing is working. And I'm working during the productive hours of my day. That's basically the highest yield bits. Another thing is that you want to push back anything that's not work, that's going to drain you. Push that back to the end of the day. Anything that you're going to be left thinking about that, push it back as far as you can, because as we've said, you work more effectively in the morning. So ideally, you would wake up, work until afternoon, and then you do all your distracting stuff, you check your messages or whatever. And that's actually what I do most mornings. Even on my non-deep work days, and if I have work, and if I have my run club or anything else I do, or tutoring, I put it as far in the afternoon as I can. And so my mornings, almost every single day, are completely empty, and they're just for work. And that way, I'm not distracted. I'm not getting home from, a shift, drained, and then I have to study. Your mornings should be for work as much as you possibly can. So the principles I have gone over that I try to follow is your mornings you should work, your afternoons you'll be a bit less productive. So if you have anything less productive to do, that may be a good time to do it. And in your mornings and your work blocks, try to leave them for work as much as you can. And even if that means, just checking your phone for like an hour straight in the afternoon, that's better than an hour scattered throughout the day. So, hope that helped. Have a great day.